I'm really hoping you like read the title and saw the thumbnail before you leave a comment lambasting me for not talking about the golden age of Need for Speed, but it's the internet, so I'm guessing I'm not gonna have that privilege. Need for Speed Heat is a game that means more to me than I ever thought it would when I first got it as a wee little 11-year-old dumbass for Christmas. As the saying goes, everyone has a Need for Speed story. Even before I bought Heat, Most Wanted 2012 and Hot Pursuit were both my most played games on my parents' phones whenever I got the chance to use them. Alongside my dad introducing me to Top Gear and Gran Turismo and F1 and cars in general, these games shaped my perspective on cars and car culture. And still do to some degree, even though the last time I touched them was like over a decade ago by this point. So when it was finally time for me to play Heat, let me tell you, man, I was the most excited I've ever been prior to that point. And I can say without a doubt that it absolutely met my expectations. I actually went way past them, because to make a point here, Need for Speed Heat is one of only 2 games that I've ever platinumed, besides Gran Turismo 7. I forgot about the BMW Group 3 Nürburgring photo trophy, so it was delayed by like months. I just got the platinum like a couple days ago because I just remembered that shit. But alongside GT7, the only other game I've platinumed is Need for Speed Heat. Regardless, this video exists because I wanted to give my farewells to the Need for Speed franchise, as it's basically been all but officially confirmed that it's dead. So thank you, EA, Criterion. I love the both of yous. Yeah. So I'll be covering the overall story of the game, my favorite mechanics and aspects of it, and what Need for Speed Heat actually means to me. To spoil that last point just a little bit, this was my most played game during the pandemic. So I think it's a pretty clear indicator as to the role it played in my life. But I'm done chatting shit in this intro. It's time for me to talk about the most important Need for Speed game to me. Need for Speed Heat. The story mode opens up with you driving the cover car, a crazily modified Polestar 1 that was immediately destroyed by the Palm City's chief of the high-speed task force, Mercer, who's quickly established as an asshole. That Polestar is never seen again, by the way. Like literally never. You can buy it, but like, why would you? The driver of the Polestar was part of a crew with the biggest supporting character, Anna, your little Cuban fine shit that's actually really fucking annoying and not fine at all. To sum up the intro of the game, Anna's brother Lucas gives you the choice of your first car, dangles a Camaro with a blower on it in front of you, and then tells you to go fuck yourself. Lucas directs you to go do some day racing as the city's in the midst of the showdown where street racing is legal in the day, and then Anna barges in. Next thing you know, you're doing illegal night races, which in fairness is way cooler than the day races. And from here on out, we learn why Anna's taken such an interest in our character. Basically, she wants to make it to the top league of street racing at night, and with her best racer now gone because of Mercer, she wants you to be her chaperone. However, as the story goes on and we're introduced to characters like Dex and Wayne, shout out both of those dudes. Fuck Roshni, her boring ass, I don't care about her at all. And then Sean Torres with the cops. It's shown that the police are insanely corrupt. Dude, no fucking way. And have been taking seized cars from street racers to chop shops to be sold for cash on the side. Most of that cash going into Mercer, Shaw, and Torres' pockets. Throughout this time, Anna loses her car to the task force, gets Lucas beat up because of it, and the siblings eventually lose their shop because it's just too high heat to stay there. Also, they aren't on speaking terms, which... yeah. Us as a character, we're kind of just stuck between the annoying little sister who's only gotten us in trouble and the big brother who fixes your cars for cheap. So, Torres, the only person who owns a bike in the entirety of southern Florida, and after checking the entirety of the Need for Speed universe, eventually teams up with you, Lucas, and Anna to take Mercer down, as he's bringing too much attention to their little chop shop side gig. Through some coordinated sabotage with Torres and calling in some favors from your night race friends, you and the siblings reveal Mercer's corruption on live TV, as well as how pussy he is as he tries to escape in the Most Wanted M3 GTR, the first time that thing had been seen in like the canon Need for Speed story universe since Carbon in 2006. It was in Most Wanted 2012 and some irrelevant PC exclusives and mobile exclusives, but not really part of the story, just more as DLC, so they didn't actually have a role in the game. You as the player eventually catch up and crash out Mercer, where you leave him to be dealt with by Torres, who blows his fucking head off. And with that, Palm City is liberated from Mercer as Torres takes over and vows to hunt you all down relentlessly without mercy. What a nice ending, you know? Just so beautiful and poetic. In all seriousness, the story of Heat isn't really special in any way compared to other Need for Speed stories. Of course, it doesn't really hold up to the golden age for a lot of people. Don't know if that's the same thing for me. I really like the story, but I mean, all that to say, right? It's a pretty good story for Need for Speed. The narrative of a Need for Speed game is never going to be that complicated. Something to do with street racing and the police. However, one funny thing about this game, it was one of the first pieces of media I ever interacted with that taught me about corruption and like police brutality, which is crazy to think about because by 11, I feel like I already was pretty into history. Yeah, in retrospect, it's really funny that my love for history and all that shit, like social, what's it called, humanities, all of that came from, or some of it came from a fucking Need for Speed game. Very funny in retrospect. The best part of the story, however, is absolutely Lucas. Like, without a doubt. This nigga was beat to shit by old Sergeant Thundercock over there and was able to slam the fuck out that nigga with his dad's prize Camaro, sock him after, then he fixed the Camaro and gave it to his sister after orchestrating the plan that led to them winning against an entire corrupt police division. And he gives discounts on parts, which is nice. So, I mean, other than Lucas, though, the story was mainly carried by the races, which are actually pretty hard on hard difficulty. Like, even with a car that was above the recommended performance level, it's pretty difficult. And the other really good part is the environment. I stand by Heat being one of the most beautiful looking racing games ever made. Much better looking than its successor that I could talk about for days. But when it's sunrise during the day or rainy during the night, the game looks stunning, even after 6 years of it being out. 7 years in November. Speaking of the parts I love most about the game, Heat was special when it came to its gameplay loop and mechanics. First things first, the heat meter that's critical during night races is basically a staple of the franchise, even if it wasn't dubbed as your heat level. It just tells you the difficulty of escaping the cops once they found you. And I'll never forget, from the launch of the game and when I got it in January to March, April of 2020, Heat 5 might have been one of the most intimidating and difficult challenges to beat in racing game history. It may be like the hardest challenge to beat in racing game history. And I don't mean, I'm not saying those ones that are like drive the entire length of the Earth's orbit. Like, that's not difficult, that's tedious. I'm saying this shit was hard. Those vets back then, even today, they're fucking ruthless. Heat 5 is still incredibly hard to escape from after they, fixed it where they made it a little easier. Honestly, I really do think it's almost impossible without using some container cheese down by the ports or the jump cheese in the city or even the railway cheese also in the city. Beyond the heat level though, other core mechanics like auxiliary kits and the gas stations are cool, but moving on from those, the concept of having 2 different times of day that hold 2 types of races that each reward you with 2 different earnings is great, and then the execution of it is even better. The loop players go through once finishing the story mode of the game is so rewarding. I know a lot of people say it's tedious, I just think they're stupid, I'm sorry. Like, to me, it's so much fun. You aren't actually anywhere near max level once you do finish the story. Ideally, you're around level 30 or at least a little higher, but the max level is 50. So as you rank up more and more, you need faster cars. So you need to buy better parts, cars, and engine swaps, which means you need to race during the day. But to actually level up, you need reps, so you have to race at night. The upgrades you put onto your car are necessary as the night races by default are harder than day races as traffic is now a concern, as well as the police willing to end your life over Heat 1. Although if you bump into them in the day, they'll also, I guess kill you. But the night races get even harder as you level up, eventually leading to some of the nastiest races in the game, like New Horizons, Maori Venture, Axiom, and of course, the big one, Discovery, which is one of my favorite video game races ever. Beyond those, there's also the high heat races, certain events that can spawn throughout the map that take place as a certain event, such as, example, Millennium F. That's one of the most common ones that turns from a normal race to a Heat 3 or Heat 5 race. But yeah, those events spawn throughout the map, and they not only reward you rep, but they also reward you bank and a new category of parts called Ultimate Parts, which are basically the end game. Once you've reached level 50, by this point you're probably hunting for Ultimate and Ultimate Plus parts in order to keep them stashed for new builds you want to make, as well as finally being able to actually compete against other people online. And once you reach the level that I reached before moving on to other games, you're now maxing out almost every build you have with the top tier Ultimate Plus parts and challenging yourself to get as much rep as possible in one night. Even with an almost encyclopedic knowledge of the game, the challenge of escaping Heat 5 cops with their vets, their rhinos, and their fugazi ass helicopters is unlike any Need for Speed game before or after Heat. I believe it's one of the few racing games that you realistically could never get bored of. until you run out of cars. I think that's really when it starts to. So beyond my favorite outright mechanics of the game, my other favorite part of this game is just the setting and graphics. I don't know what sort of black fucking magic Ghost did back in 2018, 2019 to make this game look this good, but it worked, man, it worked. As I said before, sunrise in Palm City with a little bit of dew and the fog in the air, even in the rural areas, stuff like that, the water reflecting off like in the Mendoza Keys, it's stunning. And then there's the transition to nighttime, which never gets old. And the way the game looks at night, whether it's in the highly illuminated downtown or Eden Springs, or in the rural Frontera Hills and Cloud Bank, even by Port Murphy and fucking, what's it called? The Western, Fort Callahan, the other metro area on the map, by the way. The game looks beautiful. It feels so full of life, even though there's no pedestrians, which you have to consciously be aware of to really notice. But all that to say, all that praise, I don't think the game is perfect. Personally, the handling of Need for Speed Heat was something I never really cared about. I actually used to like it a lot because it felt so direct and sharp. Like you felt really planted. But nowadays I notice that pointedness that shit's off-putting, to say the least, especially after playing Gran Turismo for like 2 years at this point. Additionally, the almost complete cutoff of support back in the day, apart from the black market stuff, was really fucking shitty. Apparently Ghost had a lot planned for their like DLC, but EA moved away from Ghost for Criterion, which meant Ghost could only get one of their DLCs, the black market DLC, where you introduce the F1 into the game, which fucking stinks, because that, let's be frank, it was an alright DLC. I don't think it was great, but considering that they had like, I think it was 4 more planned for the life cycle of the game, it fucking pains me. Plus, the move to Criterion bit EA in the ass so hard that they fucking killed the franchise over it. Unbound was such a disappointment. I'm sorry. I don't want to rag on Unbound. I think it has some good aspects, but it's so disappointing. Beyond some weird handling and shitty business practices, my only other complaint was the music during the daytime, specifically one song. I actually liked a lot of the songs that played during the day. Here's some of those songs on screen right now, and the nighttime music was perfect to me. I mean, Mercedes by Blockboy JB and So What by Black Youngsta, probably 2 of my most played songs in 2020. In retrospect, I still listen to Mercedes. Can't say the same for So What, but it works when you're racing. However, Writing on the Wall by, listen to this hellish lineup, you ready? French Montana, Post Malone, and Cardi B is the worst song I've ever heard in my fucking life. And I've listened to Youngboy, my nigga. I hate that fucking song. And like, a lot of the Latin songs in the game are great. The old Need for Speed fans who are just like maybe like, I don't know, 40% racist, they're like, why is there no rock? Why is there no metal? Nigga, you are in Miami. When's the last time you heard of somebody from Miami, not living in Miami, from Miami, making rock music? I don't know. If I Google this shit and I find out like Aerosmith was from Miami, I'll kill myself. But why are you complaining about Latin music in a game set in the capital of the Latin world? Like, that's what Miami, whatever, I'm ranting, whatever. By the way, Ordinary Pleasure by Toro y Moi and El Diablo by Machine Gun Kelly. Ugh. There's some of my guilty pleasure songs. I don't know why. I haven't listened to either of them in a while, but Ordinary Pleasure is a great song, but Machine Gun Kelly, I can't believe there's a song from Machine Gun Kelly that I like. I can't believe I could tolerate a Machine Gun Kelly song, but I actually like this one. Doesn't make any sense to me. He does ruin the song when he raps, but like, very weird to like a Machine Gun Kelly song. I'll never add it to my fucking library though, never. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm just a sucker for horns, yeah. So in all, while Need for Speed Heat wasn't the most popular game of the franchise, nor the most revered or polished, it was the Need for Speed game that defined the series to me. I've been trying forever to fix my PlayStation 2 so I can play the golden age of Need for Speed, but in the meanwhile, the only other game in the series I've played since then was Unbound, which had some positives of its own that I mentioned earlier, but god damn, it was so fundamentally flawed. It was nowhere close to as special as Heat was, especially personally. Because, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but after watching Era 12's playthrough of the game during school in late 2019, I knew I needed this game bad. I wanted it so bad. So when I got it for Christmas, not only did it mean the world to me that I actually got to finally play a game I saw on YouTube for the first time ever, it was basically all I did when I got home from school. And then, pandemic hit, And Heat was basically what kept me stable alongside watching Warzone content and Avatar and Crunker. Shout out Crunker. Now, I don't know what the fuck happened to that game, but shout out Crunker. And Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was also being binged a lot. Don't know why. And one day on the second channel, I will rant about Avatar. I will. I played this game non-stop from January 2020 to February of 2021. And I only stopped playing because I had done everything I'd wanted to do. I'd actually created a new save of the game in 2024, played through it, reached max level in about 2 weeks, and that's when I remembered why I liked this game so much. I think what shows my love for Heat most is that to this day, I can name the ideal route needed to reach multi-million rep nights. Like, my favorite races in the game: Top Thrill, Ocean Drive, Winx, Flanker, Spirit of Oz, Discovery, fuck Maori Venture, that hard-ass race. Millennium F is also a lame-ass race. And as a matter of fact, fuck Axiom. And there was one other race that started at the mountain. I think it was called Shinkansen. Fuck that one too. But like, my favorite races in the game, they're all like etched into my mind, and they always will be. Like, when I'm like 115 years old and I'm ridden with dementia, there's holes in my brain and I can't eat applesauce, some of the only things I'll be able to remember are the Need for Speed Heat races. To be able to keep my ass entertained for 13 months, basically non-stop back in the day, like, the game had to be special, man. And it's really only until now, with the death of the Need for Speed franchise, that I realize how much of a role it's played in shaping me, like my taste in cars and car culture and my engagement with it. And that's something I'll be eternally grateful for. So there's my Need for Speed story. And I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk about one of my favorite games ever. With the announcement that Need for Speed was basically like fucking dead in the water, like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that, I figured I'd play my favorite game of the series again just for old time's sake. And it was while I was driving down Eden Shores during the night with my friend Nate. That's on the second channel, by the way. It was that point was when I realized that this really was one of the foundational media pillars of my life, which is weird to think about when you compare it to everything else like COD and Gran Turismo and F1 and Avatar again. I mean, yeah, man, it's up there, you know? It's weird. Other than that, I don't got much else to talk about. If you've made it this far, you've already heard me bring this shit up twice now, but the second channel, Skid Marcus, is up. And that's where I post about shit that usually doesn't pertain to cars. And really, it's more just an outlet for me to just rant and do shit that I actually like to do when I'm not working on a main channel video. Mainly gaming, yeah, mainly gaming. The videos on there have been fucking hilarious lately. Like, not even as biased, like, they're just fucking funny. So if you want to go support that, links in the description. I have no idea what video I'm going to do next on here. It's either going to be talking about how big cars are getting, but I'm pretty sure somebody already talked about that. I think it was Panel Gap. Hey, Panel Gap, why'd you steal my idea? I mean, I know I never put this out there, like, at all, and didn't, you know, stake my claim to it at all ever, because I didn't make the video, but, like, why'd you steal my idea? So it's either talking about how big cars are, or it's going to involve something with a track creator. And I'm probably going to need some help learning how to use that, so there's probably going to be a post. If a post happens asking, hey, how do I use a track creator, the video is going to be about track creators. Yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a good day, night, morning, afternoon, whatever. Just have a good one, man. Have a good one.
Finishing so XY, baby girl, this is if a nigga tell you about the dive, but this only get